Stop everything you're doing right now and answer this question honestly. How many times today have you thought, "I'm too old for this," or "It's too late to change"? If the answer is even once, you're feeding the exact mental habit that keeps you trapped in mediocrity. I met two people who both retired at 65, with the same pension, same health conditions, same circumstances. Today, 10 years later, one of them is running a business, traveling the world, mentoring young people, while the other sits in front of the TV complaining that life is over. The difference wasn't luck, genetics, or money. The difference was the mental habits each one cultivated every single day. And if you want to understand why some people thrive in their later years while others simply fade away, you need to discover what Napoleon Hill understood at 87 years old, lying in his final bed, when he made a decision that shocked everyone around him. A decision that revealed the ultimate secret he had been teaching for 50 years, but never fully explained until his last breath. And this is exactly what you're going to learn in the next 20 minutes. Most people think aging is about losing control, losing health, losing purpose. But the truth is, decline begins with mental habits that sabotage success from the inside out. It's not your age, your health conditions, your past failures, or your circumstances that define your final years. It's how you think, decide, and act every single day. Vitality doesn't begin in the body, it begins in the mind. Every mental habit you cultivate daily either builds or destroys the tomorrow you're going to live. If today you're facing difficulties, feeling stuck, or thinking your best years are behind you, it's not because you were born to fade away, but because you haven't broken the patterns that limit you. Here's the good news. It's never too late. One firm decision can turn the game around. Discipline, continuous learning, and focused action crush any cycle of decline. Success isn't luck. It's the consequence of the right habits repeated with persistence. Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." It's not the number of years you've lived that determines your vitality, but how you deal with them. Age doesn't change who you are. It amplifies what you already are. Those who are defeated amplify defeat. Those who are disciplined multiply prosperity. Philosophy teaches us that real freedom is born when you master your impulses, see reality with clarity, and make firm decisions. Today, you're going to learn what Napoleon Hill discovered in his final days, the mental habits that either keep people alive with purpose or let them die while still breathing. If this topic already moves you, comment, "Today, I choose to live fully." Every change begins with a decision. Yours can be right now. Before we begin, leave your like and subscribe to the channel to spread this knowledge. Let's go. November 8th, 1970, a small hospital room in South Carolina. Napoleon Hill, 87 years old, lying in bed, his body weak but his mind sharp as ever. His wife Annie Lou sat beside him, watching him carefully. The doctors had just left the room after their morning rounds, leaving behind bottles of pills, prescriptions for pain, medications for his heart, his blood pressure, his aging body. Annie Lou reached for the first bottle to prepare his morning dose. But then Napoleon Hill did something that made her freeze. He raised his hand slowly, looked her straight in the eyes, and said with complete clarity, "No more. I'm done with those." Annie Lou thought he was confused. Maybe the pain was affecting his judgment. She said gently, Darling, the doctor said you need these. They'll help you. And Napoleon Hill, the man who had spent 50 years studying the minds of the most successful people in history, the man who had interviewed Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, the man who had written the book that changed millions of lives, smiled softly and said, "Annie, I've spent my entire life teaching people that the mind controls the body. If I don't believe that now, at the end, then everything I taught was a lie. I'm not taking another pill. My mind will decide when I'm done, not a bottle." That moment, that decision, Jen shocked everyone around him. His doctor argued with him, his family worried, his friends thought he had given up. But Napoleon Hill hadn't given up. He had made the ultimate commitment to his own philosophy. And here's what nobody talks about. He didn't die that day. He didn't die that week. In fact, he lived several more weeks, fully conscious, fully present, teaching until his very last breath. And in those final days, he gave interviews, he spoke to visitors, and he revealed things he had never said publicly before. Things about the real secret behind Think and Grow Rich. Things about what he learned from studying 500 millionaires over 20 years. Things about the one principle that mattered more than all the others combined. And the most shocking part? He said he had been afraid to teach this principle too directly, because most people weren't ready to hear it. Most people wanted formulas, steps, techniques. But this principle required something deeper. It required absolute faith in the power of the mind over everything else, including the body, including circumstances, including age. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, wrote nearly 2,000 years ago, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements if it were all well invested." Napoleon Hill understood this at 87. He understood that every day he had left wasn't about managing symptoms or prolonging breath. It was about living with complete mental control until the very end. He understood that taking those pills wasn't wrong medically, but it was wrong philosophically. Because every time he swallowed a pill, he was telling his subconscious mind, "You are not in control. You are weak. You need external help." And for a man who had built his entire life's work on the principle that the mind is the master, that thought is the creative force, that belief shapes reality, accepting that message was worse than death itself. Here's what most people miss about Napoleon Hill's final decision. It wasn't about rejecting medicine. It wasn't about being stubborn or foolish. It was about integrity. It was about living what he taught until the very last moment. Because Hill knew something that modern society has forgotten. The body follows the mind. When you believe you're fragile, you become fragile. When you believe you're dependent, you become dependent. When you believe your power is outside you, in a pill, in a doctor, in circumstances, you lose the one power you actually have, the power of your own directed thought. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Hill realized this, and in his final weeks he demonstrated it. Visitors reported that his mind was clear, his speech was strong, his presence was powerful. He wasn't a dying old man waiting for the end. He was a teacher completing his final lesson. But here's where it gets even deeper. In one of his last interviews, Napoleon Hill was asked, "If you could go back and rewrite Think and Grow Rich, What would you change? And his answer shocked the interviewer. He said, I would make it shorter. I would remove everything except one principle, because everything else is just decoration around this one truth. The interviewer leaned forward. What truth? And Napoleon Hill said, that you become what you think about most of the time. Not sometimes, not when it's convenient. Most of the time. Every thought you think is either building your future or destroying it. And most people spend their entire lives thinking thoughts that destroy them, then wonder why their lives don't work. They think about what they fear more than what they desire. They think about their limitations more than their possibilities. They think about their age, their circumstances, their past failures, and then they're surprised when those things dominate their reality. The secret isn't complicated. It's just that nobody wants to take responsibility for their own mind. This is the principle Hill lived by until his final breath. He refused to think thoughts of weakness, dependency, or defeat. He refused to let his mind dwell on pain, on limitation, on ending. Instead, he directed his mind toward gratitude, toward completion, toward the legacy he was leaving. And something remarkable happened. People who visited him in those final days said they left feeling more alive, more inspired, more powerful than when they arrived. A dying man was making them feel more alive. How? Because Hill had mastered the one thing most people never master, his own mind. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, taught, men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Hill proved this in his final days. The circumstance was the same for everyone, an 87-year-old man dying in a hospital bed. But his view of that circumstance was completely different. He didn't see himself as a victim of age or disease. He saw himself as a mind that happened to be in an aging body, and the mind was still completely in charge. This is the shocking truth that Hill's final decision revealed. Age doesn't weaken you. Disease doesn't defeat you. Circumstances don't control you. Your thoughts about those things do, and you can change your thoughts at any moment, even at 87, even on your deathbed, even when everyone around you has given up. Think about your own life right now. How many thoughts do you think each day that weaken you? I'm too old. I'm too tired. I can't do that anymore. My best years are behind me. I should just accept where I am. Every one of those thoughts is a command to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind is obedient. It will create exactly what you tell it to create. If you tell it you're declining, it will decline you. If you tell it you're finished, it will finish you. But if you tell it every single day, with emotion and repetition, I am still growing, I am still capable, I am still creating value, my mind is sharp, my purpose is clear, your subconscious mind will work day and night to make that real. Hill taught this for 50 years, but in his final days, he proved it. He showed that this principle works not just when you're young and strong and building a fortune. It works when you're old and weak and facing death. It works always, because it's a law, not a technique. The law of mental dominance. Your mind dominates your reality, or your reality dominates your mind? There's no middle ground. And here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. Most people have already surrendered. They surrendered at 40, at 50, at 60, telling themselves, well, I'm getting older. I need to slow down. I need to be realistic. I need to accept my limitations. And every one of those statements is a betrayal of the power within them. Hill refused to betray that power, even when his body was failing. In Think and Grow Rich, Hill wrote about the principle of burning desire. He said that every great achievement begins with a burning desire, a definite purpose, so strong that it dominates every thought and action. But what he revealed in his final days was even deeper. He said, "The burning desire isn't just for achievement, it's for life itself. It's the decision that your mind will not surrender, will not fade, will not accept defeat until the very last moment. And even then, it doesn't surrender. It simply moves to a different realm." This is what separated Hill from the millions of people who read his books, but never fully grasped the message. Hill didn't just teach the principles. He lived them. He tested them in poverty, in failure, in loss, in success, in wealth, and finally, in death. And they worked every single time. So let's bring this to your life today. You're watching this video, which means you're still here, still breathing, still capable of thought. That means you still have the one power that matters, the power to direct your mind. Right now, in this moment, you can decide what you're going to think about most of the time. Are you going to think about your limitations, your age, your past failures, your health problems, your regrets? Or are you going to think about what's still possible, what you can still create, what you can still contribute, what you can still become? Napoleon Hill, at 87, lying in a hospital bed, chose the second option. And if he could do it in those circumstances, what's your excuse? Here's a practical exercise Hill suggested in one of his final conversations. Every morning, before you do anything else, before you check your phone, before you turn on the news, before you talk to anyone, sit quietly for 5 minutes and direct your mind. Ask yourself, what do I want to think about today? What thoughts will serve my highest purpose? What mental image will I hold regardless of circumstances? Then, with emotion, with feeling, with absolute conviction, hold that image in your mind. See it, feel it, believe it. Do this every morning without fail. Hill said, "Most people's minds are like ships without rudders, tossed by every wave of circumstance. But you can be different. You can steer your mind deliberately. And when you steer your mind, your life follows." This isn't positive thinking in the shallow sense. This isn't pretending problems don't exist. This is mental discipline at the highest level. It's recognizing that while you can't control every circumstance, you can control your response to every circumstance. And your response shapes your reality. The Stoics understood this completely. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Not the quality of your circumstances, the quality of your thoughts. Hill proved this truth until his final breath. His circumstances in those last days were terrible. Pain, weakness, the knowledge that death was near. But the quality of his thoughts remained high. He thought about his legacy, his students, the millions of lives his work had touched. He thought about the principles he had discovered and how they would continue to help people long after he was gone. He thought about the fact that his physical life was ending, but his ideas would live forever. And here's the most powerful part. In his very last recorded words, Napoleon Hill said to a visitor, "Tell them this. Tell them that I proved it works. The mind really is master. I'm leaving this body with my mind fully in control, exactly as I taught. And if they remember nothing else, tell them to think. Think deliberately. Think with purpose. Think about what they want, not what they fear, because that's the only thing that separates success from failure. wealth from poverty, a life well lived from a life wasted. Just think. 3 days later, Napoleon Hill passed away. But he didn't die defeated. He didn't die as a victim. He died as a master, demonstrating until the very end the principle he had discovered 50 years earlier. Your mind is your kingdom, and you are the king. No circumstance, no age, no condition can take that throne unless you surrender it. So here's my question for you today. Are you surrendering your throne? Are you letting age, circumstances, or other people's opinions tell you what you're capable of? Or are you going to take back control of your mind right now, today, this moment? Because I promise you this, the moment you decide to think differently, everything changes. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Your energy shifts, your posture changes, your voice gets stronger, your actions become more purposeful. Why? Because you've activated the power that was always there, just waiting for you to claim it. Napoleon Hill claimed it at 87 on his deathbed. You can claim it right now, wherever you are, whatever circumstances you're facing. Seneca wrote, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." How much of your mental energy are you wasting on thoughts that weaken you? How much time are you giving to worry, regret, fear, complaint? What would happen if you took all that mental energy and redirected it toward what you want to create, who you want to become, what legacy you want to leave? Hill showed us it's possible, even at 87, even facing death. He took control of his mind and refused to let go until the very end. That's not just inspiring. That's a roadmap. That's proof. That's permission for you to do the same thing, no matter how old you are, no matter what you're facing. Before we close, I want to share one more thing Hill said in those final days. Someone asked him, "Do you have any regrets?" And Hill thought for a long moment, then said, "Only one. I wish I had been bolder in teaching the truth. I wish I had told people more directly that they are powerful beyond measure, that age is just a number, that circumstances are just circumstances, that the only real limitation is the one they accept in their mind. I tried to be gentle, to ease people into these ideas. But gentleness sometimes sounds like suggestion instead of law. And this isn't a suggestion, it's a law. The mind dominates, always. And I wish I had said that more forcefully, because people need to hear it. They need to know that they're not victims. They never were. So I'm telling you forcefully right now, you are not a victim of your age. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a victim of your past. You are a mind, a powerful creative force, temporarily living in a body. And that mind can direct, control, and create your reality until your very last breath. Napoleon Hill proved it. The Stoics proved it. Countless others have proved it. Now it's your turn to prove it. Not to anyone else, to yourself. Because when you prove to yourself that your mind is master, everything else falls into place. Health improves. Relationships deepen. Purpose clarifies. Energy returns. Not because circumstances changed, but because you changed how you think about circumstances. And that changes everything. Here's what I want you to do right now. Comment below, "My mind is master." Write it. Declare it. Make it public. Because when you declare something publicly, you activate a different level of commitment. Then, for the next 7 days, practice what Hill practiced. Every morning, direct your mind deliberately. Choose thoughts of strength, capability, purpose, growth. Every time a weak thought appears, and it will, replace it immediately with a stronger one. I'm too old becomes I'm experienced and still learning. I can't do that becomes I'm figuring out how. My best years are gone becomes my best years are now. Do this for 7 days and watch what happens. Watch how your energy changes. Watch how people respond to you differently. Watch how opportunities appear that weren't there before. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. And when you change, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around your new mental state. Napoleon Hill stopped taking medicine at 87, not because he was giving up, but because he was demonstrating the ultimate principle. The mind is master. Your thoughts create your reality, and no circumstance, not even death, can take that power away unless you surrender it. He didn't surrender. He stayed in control until his final breath. And in doing so, he gave us the final lesson, the ultimate proof that what he taught for 50 years wasn't theory. It was truth. It was law. It was the secret that if you really understand it and apply it, changes everything. The question is, are you ready to apply it? Are you ready to stop being a victim of circumstances and become the master of your mind? Are you ready to live the next chapter of your life, whether that's 10 years or 30 years, with complete mental control and unwavering purpose? Napoleon Hill showed you it's possible. Now it's your turn to prove it in your own life. Comment, "My mind is master," like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's walk this path together. Because the world needs more people who understand this truth and live it. Your next chapter starts now.